This is SB19. They're the global phenomenon that has shattered records, topped Billboard charts, and sold out arenas across the world. They are the first Filipino act to be nominated for a Billboard Music Award, the first to break a record held by BTS, and are widely known as the kings of P-pop. They've become a source of national pride, a cultural force, and the trailblazers who kicked open the doors for a new generation of Filipino artists. But just a few years ago, this was their reality. 5 young men, exhausted, unpaid, and on the verge of giving up after 3 years of relentless effort. They were dismissed, ridiculed, and about to become another forgotten name in a music industry that had little faith in them. Their dream was over. Until it wasn't. They were saved by a single fan's viral tweet. This is the story of how 5 artists who refused to quit were lifted up by a wave of digital devotion. This is the story of how one song, Go Up, launched a global phenomenon and redefined an entire nation's music scene. Before the sold-out arenas and global headlines, the idea of a Filipino boy band making it big internationally felt like an impossible dream. The Philippine music scene, or OPM, has a rich history built by legendary balladeers and iconic rock bands. But a highly polished, dance-intensive pop group trained in the rigorous K-pop style? That was a foreign concept, and for many, an unwelcome one. The term P-pop existed, but it hadn't really found its modern identity yet. Groups that tried to follow the synchronized, high-production formula were often met with skepticism or ridicule. They were frequently labeled K-pop wannabes, struggling to prove their authenticity in a market that wasn't ready for them. The industry was dominated by familiar genres, and there wasn't a clear path to success for a group that looked and sounded like SB19. This was the world SB19 was born into. A landscape of doubt, where the dream of a globally competitive Filipino pop group was seen by many as just that, a dream. It wasn't just about making good music. It was about fighting a deeply ingrained cultural cringe and proving that Filipino talent, in a new package, could be just as powerful and original as any other. The challenge wasn't just to succeed. It was to create a wave so large it would force the entire industry to take notice and to turn P-pop from a term of dismissal into a badge of honor. The story of SB19 starts not on a grand stage, but in a humble audition room in 2016. A Korean entertainment company, ShowBT, set up a Philippine branch to discover and train Filipino talent using the famously intense K-pop idol system. Out of hundreds of hopefuls, only 5 made the final cut: Pablo, Josh, Stell, Ken, and Justin. They came from different walks of life. Pablo became the leader and chief songwriter, whose vision would define the group's sound. Then there was Josh, the lead rapper, Stell, the vocal powerhouse, Ken, the lead dancer with a distinct artistic flair, and Justin, the group's visual and creative director. Individually, they were talented, but the system they entered was designed to push them far beyond their limits. For 3 years, they endured a grueling training regimen that has become legendary among their fans. It was a relentless cycle of vocal lessons, dance practices, and physical conditioning, often lasting more than 9 hours a day. They trained without pay, fueled only by a shared dream and small allowances. It was a system built on sacrifice, designed to break you down and build you back up as a perfectly synchronized unit. They weren't just learning to sing and dance. They were being molded into world-class performers. This period was their crucible. It's where they forged an unbreakable bond, a relentless work ethic, and the quiet resilience that would become their defining trait. But when they finally debuted on October 26, 2018, with a heartfelt ballad called Tila Luha, the world they had trained so hard to conquer met them with deafening silence. The debut of Tilaluha was, by all commercial standards, a failure. The song got a lukewarm reception at best. Despite their polished skills and years of training, SB19 struggled to find an audience. The mall shows were often sparsely attended, and the media buzz they hoped for never came. They were talented and dedicated, but nobody seemed to care. This wasn't just a slow start. It was a soul-crushing period of doubt. They had put their lives on hold and endured a physically and emotionally draining process, all for a dream that seemed to be slipping away. The stress was immense, and the financial reality was grim. By mid-2019, after nearly 3 years of effort with little reward, the group was at its breaking point. The members were ready to call it quits, and disbandment became a serious conversation. They decided to give it one last try. That final shot was a song titled Go Up, written by Pablo. Go Up was more than just a song. It was their story. It was an anthem born from their shared frustration and a desperate prayer for their situation to change. Pablo told the group this was their last chance, and that if they failed after giving it their absolute all, he would be able to accept it. On July 19, 2019, they released the music video for Go Up. It showcased their incredible dance synchronization and powerful vocals. Yet, just like Tilaluha, it was met with the same crushing indifference. Weeks turned into months, and their last shot seemed to have missed the mark. The dream was all but dead. The date was September 2nd, 2019. More than a month after Go Up had been released to little fanfare, the 5 members of SB19 were facing the grim reality that their journey was likely over. Then, something happened. A single tweet from a K-pop fan account posted their Go Up dance practice video. It wasn't the polished music video. It was a raw, unedited recording of the group in their practice room, drenched in sweat, executing their choreography with a desperate, razor-sharp precision. The tweet praised their dance skills and the fact that the members wrote their own Tagalog lyrics. And that was the spark. The tweet exploded, jumping from Twitter to Facebook, where it found an even wider audience. People who had never heard of SB19 were suddenly watching this video. They saw the passion, the synchronization, and the raw talent that had been overlooked for so long. What the music industry had ignored, the public now embraced. The video's virality wasn't driven by a marketing budget. It was a purely organic phenomenon. It was the ultimate word-of-mouth campaign happening at the speed of light. For the first time, people weren't just watching. They were listening. The song's lyrics of struggle and perseverance resonated deeply. Overnight, their fortunes were reversed. Radio stations that had previously ignored them were now asking to play their song. TV shows were booking them for guest appearances. The 5 young men who were about to disband were suddenly the most talked-about group in the Philippines. That single fan's tweet didn't just save their careers, it ignited a movement. The Go Up phenomenon wasn't just a fleeting internet moment, it was the beginning of a meteoric ascent. With their new platform, SB19, and their rapidly growing fan base, who would become known as 18, seized the opportunity. Social media, the catalyst for their discovery, now became their greatest weapon. The viral wave led to mainstream recognition. SB19 was suddenly everywhere. Seeing their immense potential, Sony Music Philippines signed the group, a major milestone that solidified their place in the industry. Their first release under the new label, the fiery track Alab, Burning, proved Go Up was no fluke. The song's success was immediate, but the true measure of their new stardom came with the announcement of their first major concert. The tickets sold out in just 3 minutes. Even though the pandemic would later disrupt their tour plans, the message was clear. SB19 was a commercial force. The buzz wasn't just local. In November 2019, SB19 achieved something no Filipino group had ever done. They debuted on the Billboard Next Big Sound chart. This was followed by an even bigger achievement in December, when they entered the Billboard Social 50, a chart ranking the most active artists on social media worldwide. They debuted at number 28, proving their reach extended far beyond the Philippines. From the brink of disbandment, SB19 had become a Billboard charting act in a matter of months. The rise was just beginning. With a solid foundation and a passionate fan base, SB19 entered a new phase of their career, defined by ambitious music and unprecedented global milestones. They were no longer just a viral sensation. They were shaping the future of P-pop. In 2021, they released their first EP, Pagsibol, which translates to germination. The EP was led by the powerful single, What?, a defiant anthem of self-empowerment. But it was another song that would capture the heart of the nation. Mapa, a heartfelt tribute to parents. Mapa transcended the P-pop genre and became a Filipino anthem. It was proof their music could be both globally competitive and deeply, authentically Filipino. The world was taking serious notice. In April 2021, SB19 made history as the first Filipino and Southeast Asian act ever to be nominated for a Billboard Music Award. They were nominated in the top social artist category, alongside global giants like BTS, Blackpink, and Ariana Grande. While they didn't win, the nomination itself was a monumental victory, placing P-pop firmly on the global music map. Later that year, their song Bazinga entered Billboard's newly launched Hot Trending Songs chart. It didn't just chart, it climbed to the #1 spot and stayed there for a record-breaking 7 weeks, surpassing a record previously held by BTS's global smash hit, Butter. This demonstrated the sheer power of their fandom, 18, who proved they could mobilize on a global scale. Dubbed the Kings of P-pop, they had achieved a level of international success once thought unimaginable for a Filipino group. Having reached the pinnacle of success, SB19 took the boldest step of their career. In 2023, the group announced they were leaving their agency to form their own company, 1Z Entertainment. With Pablo as CEO, this was a declaration of full creative control over their music and future. It was a power move that signaled their transition from artists to industry leaders, with a mission to uplift Filipino talent and culture globally. Their first release under 1Z was the EP Pagtatag. Establishment, and it was a statement. The lead single, Gento, became an absolute global phenomenon. The song's hard-hitting beat and incredibly complex choreography sparked a viral dance challenge that swept across TikTok. K-pop idols, international celebrities, and millions of fans joined the Gento craze, catapulting the song into the global consciousness. It landed in the top 10 of Billboard's World Digital Song Sales chart, another historic first. The success of Pagtatag was followed by an ambitious 18-show world tour across the Philippines, the United States, Canada, the UAE, and Japan, playing to sold-out crowds. SB19's journey had a profound ripple effect on the entire Filipino music industry. They had paved the way. Their breakthrough proved that a P-pop group could succeed on its own terms, opening the floodgates for a new wave of P-pop groups like BINI and BGYO, who were now entering a more receptive industry. SB19 hadn't just joined the conversation, they had fundamentally changed it. Now fully in control of their destiny, SB19 continues to push boundaries. Their EP trilogy, which began with Pagsibol and Pagtatag, concluded with 2025's Simula at Wakas, beginning and end. The project, led by the single Damn, showcased their artistic evolution, exploring themes of ambition and sacrifice. The EP's release was accompanied by a world tour that kicked off at the colossal Philippine Arena, cementing their status as one of the country's biggest acts. The accolades have continued to pour in. At the inaugural Filipino Music Awards in 2025, they were the night's biggest winners, sweeping 6 awards, including Artist of the Year. They also dominated the 10th PPOP Music Awards, taking home a stunning 15 awards, including Album of the Year for Simula at Wakas and Song of the Year for Donka. Their global influence was even recognized in Brazil, where they won International Group of the Year at the 2025 SEC Awards. Perhaps one of the most significant milestones came in November 2025, when they became the first P-pop group to be included in the pre-voting for South Korea's renowned music program, KBS Music Bank, for their song Damn. This achievement placed them in direct competition within the K-pop ecosystem, a powerful symbol of how far they've come from being dismissed as imitators. With over 694 million YouTube views and a dedicated global army of fans, their impact is undeniable. SB19's story is a testament to talent, perseverance, and the incredible power of a supportive community. It's a journey that continues to unfold in exciting new ways. So, what part of SB19's story inspires you the most? And which of their songs is your personal anthem? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from Aitin and everyone who has been a part of this incredible ride. From 5 young dreamers in a small practice room to global pop titans, the rise of SB19 is more than just a success story. It's a cultural reset. They faced rejection, ridicule, and the very real possibility of failure. But through their unwavering dedication and the viral spark ignited by their fans, they didn't just find success. They built a new paradigm for Filipino music. They proved that authenticity and global appeal are not mutually exclusive. They championed their language and culture on the world stage, transforming P-pop into a symbol of Filipino pride and excellence. The story of SB19 is a powerful reminder that sometimes all it takes is one last try, one perfect song, and a community that believes in you to not only reach the top, but to lift an entire nation up with you. They didn't just go up, they built a ladder for an entire industry to follow.